Yes, hello. So good evening to all of you. Can you all hear me? Okay. So let's other also join the class. We can start once other people have joined the class. Yes, hi to all. Akshata, hi. Yes. And good evening to all. So our today's class is on organizational behavior and leadership. Organizational behavior and leadership. This is our today's class. Yes, sound is clear. Thanks. So I think people are keep on joining. So our today's class is on organizational behavior and leadership. And what are the topics which we are covering in today's class? Analyzing organizational culture, managing cultural diversity, organizational politics, reasons for political behavior, political strategies, and managing political behavior. So these are basically our today's class focuses on the corporate politics and the corporate culture in which we used to work or in which we do our jobs. So it's an interesting class, and most of us handles every day in our day-to-day life. We handle lot of issues, lot of political issues we handle, lot of challenges we handle, lot of problems we handle, lot of cultural diversity we handle. Cultural diversity, as you all know, somebody is an Indian, somebody is Hindu, somebody is Muslim, somebody is Christian, somebody is Punjabi. I mean, lot of cultural differences are there. So, but whenever we are working in an organization, so we have to work professionally. We do not have to bring our cultural diversity in between. Otherwise, it will create, just because of that cultural diversity, the politics starts or politics arises. And so we'll be studying the different types of political behavior, why people used to behave politically, and the strategies to handle those political behavior and nature of the people. So we are analyzing these things in detail. But commonly every one of us know that there are a lot of politics and lot of such kind of things happens in an organization. Maybe it's an educational institution, maybe it's an office, maybe it's a law, code, everywhere these type of things happen. Why these things happen? Because people from different cultural, from their different upbringing, from financial or commercial issue also, just there are n number of reasons for organization, for such kind of behavior of the people. So let us start this. So yes, I mean, if we are talking of organization, you cannot mix and relate it to only business organization. Politics can happen anywhere. But since it's our MBA class, so we are discussing things in respect to certain organization. But I mean, politics can happen in any kind of organization. Maybe it's an educational institution also. Maybe it's a home also. In families also, joint families also, at times politics happens. Now, there are two aspects of politics. Politics can happen, healthy politics can happen for something good, and bad politics does not happen for good. I mean, it's from destructive purpose. So we have to look at both the aspects of the politics. So after studying this chapter, you should be able to define organizational culture and describe its common characteristics, compare the functional and the DYS functional effects of organizational culture. Functional and DYS functional means positive and negative effects of organizational culture on people and the organization, and the factors that create and sustain an organizational culture. Show how culture is transmitted to employees. Demonstrate how an ethical culture and a positive culture can be created. Show how national culture may affect the way organizational culture is transported to a different country. So these are the things we'll be learning after this particular slide. Now, what is organizational culture? Organizational culture is a system of shared meaning held by members that distinguishes the organization from other organizations. Okay, so it is composed of 7 key characteristics. What are those characteristics? Innovation and risk taking, attention to detail, outcome orientation, people orientation, team orientation, aggressiveness and stability. So these are the 7 factors which is being influenced by the organizational culture. First is the innovation. Lot of new developments and creativity are taking place. That's why we can say that world is changing, world is growing. Every day something new comes into the market, whether it's a technological side or it's a medical side. In every field there is so innovations are done by research scholars or scientists. So because they are fully committed for the development of, or fully committed for upgrading the existing thing, so that the new advanced thing can come upfront, which should be beneficial for the end users, or which should be beneficial to the human beings or to the people of the world. So this is an innovation. So now again, second part is the attention to detail. That means your company has certain agenda, your company has certain they have certain policies, they have certain missions, and every company is working for certain visions. They have certain vision and mission. That reflects here attention to detail. That means how much focused you are on your vision, or to pursue your vision, or to complete your vision, how much focused you are. Then comes the outcome. Whatever efforts you are putting in any terms, financially, politically, socially, marketing wise, human efforts wise, it should give some outcome. So it should be, whenever you start doing anything, you should have clear picture in mind what outcome you are working for, what benefit you will get after completing that particular job. So that picture and that strategy should be clear in your mind. So that is called as the outcome orientation. Then people orientation. I mean, the people who are working in the organization, they are from different cultural backgrounds. So what is to get success in any project to get your organization to new heights, to reach new heights in the world. Orientation of the people and the energy, positive energy the people are putting in into the organization, that matters a lot. Like suppose if I am taking classes right now and I am putting my hard work, I am putting my positive energy so that I can make you explain things. If I am putting that effort, so definitely, I mean my experiences are reaching to you people. So that means if my orientation is positive, definitely your orientation will also be positive. Because as per Newton's law, to every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. If I do something good for others, definitely I'll get some good return. So orientation, people's orientation who are working in the organization matters a lot. Then comes the team orientation. Team orientation, what is the difference between people orientation? People orientation, we are talking of an individual. But when we talk of a team orientation, I mean team can be a group of 8 people or a group of 10 people or a group of 12 people. So also every members of the team, if we are working on some bigger project, if we are working on some bigger challenges, so group, yes. So I mean everybody in the team, number one, everybody in the team should contribute to the fullest of their expertise and potential. So, sorry, potential spelling I have written wrong. Potential. So, whenever we are talking of team orientation, to yield a good team result, to yield a good, to get a success on the project or on the challenge, I mean every member of the team has to contribute, and they have to contribute as per their expertise and knowledge they have. So that reflects here the team orientation. Then in this corporate sector, in the present scenario in the world, things are changing very fast, very fast. So to stand in the market, you have to be aggressive, and your aggression should be positive. Your aggression should not be negative. So if your aggression is positive, you are putting in your, because aggression keeps you motivated. So aggression is something which is the spark, which is the internal spark working in you, and that internal spark enlightens that hidden energy which is working inside you, so that by putting in that energy you can yield the desired result. So that is why aggression, we can say that, also plays a very big part. Now a lot of people are very energetic, lot of people are very aggressive, but they do not know how to manage their energy. So for them, stability is required. I mean whatever things you are doing, if you are very aggressive, very hard working, 2 days you are very aggressive, on the third day you quit, or you do not, and your energy gets lost. So there should be an aggression, but it should also have stability. Only then you can go a long way. So aggression without stability will not be long lasting. Aggression with stability will help you reaching a long way. I mean aggression, yes, that's right. Stable aggression is required. Exactly. I am talking of the stable aggression. I am not talking of only aggression. Okay, I mean all these 7 points are clear to you? The 7 characteristics of organization culture. Any doubts, anybody? Okay. What about others? Okay. So culture is a descriptive term. Organizational culture is concerned with how employees perceive an organizational culture, not whether or not they like it. So there are 2 types of culture here it is talking about. Just for those people who are new to the class today, like Maria, I am seeing Maria for the first time in the class. If you have any problems, If I am going fast in the class, you can let me know so that I can slow down my speed. If you have any problems, any doubts, any queries in between the class on any topic right now which I am taking up, you can raise your hand or you can write in the chat box. I can let you know. So don't hesitate in asking any question. You feel free to ask me any questions. Anybody of you in the class. Okay? So what culture which I am talking about right now is, so culture can be, one is the organizational culture. Now organizational culture is dependent on people culture. I mean, the way we are working in the organization, the way we are reacting, the way our attitude is, the way our body language is, the way the time and the energy we are devoting in the organization, through that the culture of the organization develops. So organizational culture is nothing but the culture, but the contribution of all the individual cultures. Okay? So it depends. Whenever any new if an organization have, say, good people in the good, not good, they have positive people in the organization, they are motivated, they are aggressive, they are energetic, they spend more time, they do R&D. If those kind of people are present in the organization, definitely the culture of the organization will be very, very good. And if some new employee joins the organization, he can definitely feel in some time that this organization comprises of a good and motivated people. So if there are good and motivated people within the organization, definitely, I mean, organization will grow and organizational culture will improve. Then if organizational culture will improve, how? That means everybody is satisfied. Most of the people working in the organization will be satisfied, since they are how they will be satisfied? They will be satisfied with the environment, they will be satisfied with the appraisal system, they will be satisfied if their knowledge, if their experiences are taken, if their feelings are taken into consideration. So that is the job satisfaction. So measure effective responses to the work environment concerned with how employees feel about the organization. So if I feel good about the organization, that means I am very much satisfied with the job which I am doing. So that is an evaluative part. So that trust, that faith of the employee develops in an organization, and it takes certain time. I mean, you do not develop a faith in one day. You do not develop a confidence in one day. You need some time. And other peoples of the organization or the culture of the organization helps you in developing that means you get the feel that this organization is very positive and the job is very satisfying here, because a lot of people are very much helpful and they contribute a lot. Okay? Is it clear to all? Okay. Then, do organizations have uniform culture? No, we cannot say that the organizations have uniform culture. The dominant culture expresses the core value that are shared by a majority of the organization members. Subcultures tend to develop in large organizations to reflect common problems, situations or experiences of members. So, subcultures tend to develop in large organizations to reflect common problems, situations or experiences of members. Subcultures mirror the dominant culture but may add to or modify the core culture. So, I mean, if we talk of the core culture of the organization, so if 50% or we can say 70% of the people in the organization, they follow certain culture, so definitely they are the dominant part. That means that are the dominant culture. Subcultures are those cultures like 30%, 70% are the dominant culture, and 30% out of 30%, 15% are somewhat following certain culture, 15% are following somewhat different culture. So that are the subculture. But these subculture also influences the dominant culture as well. Okay? So it looks like this, that suppose Suppose let me draw certain diagram here. This is this. This is this. Just a second. हेलो, हाँ किसी ने हम आपको फ़ोन करते थोड़ा क्लास ले रहे हैं अभी, हम लेके आपको फ़ोन करते हैं. So this is the dominant culture and this is the subculture. Okay, so I'm in subculture. Can you all see this diagram? So subculture also influences the dominant culture. So subculture is also a part of the dominant culture. Now this dominant culture is nothing but the culture of the organization. Okay, so this dominant culture is the culture of the organization. Is this culture mean the core value of an organization? Yes, we can say that. That is the core value, because core value is the majority of the members core value is the majority of the members of the organization, which is basically the dominant culture. Okay, Nixon, do you understand? Okay. So this is the whole dominant culture and the subculture which I have explained you through that particular diagram. Is it clear to all? Maria, is it clear to you? Rinan, Dominda, is it clear to all? Okay, great. Now moving on to the next slide. Now what are the strong cultures? So in a strong culture, the organization's core values are both intensely held and widely shared. Strong cultures will have great influence on the behavior of its members. Increased cohesiveness results in lower employee turnover. So strong cultures are nothing but the dominant cultures, and strong cultures are something positive. Something positive, that means it will greatly influence most of the members. It will increase the cohesiveness, that means the feeling of or the spirit of working together in the organization. That is called as the cohesiveness part, and it results in lower employee turnover. That are the factors of strong cultures. Then moving on to the next slide. Loading. Now culture versus formalization. Both seeks predictability, orderliness and consistency. Cultural controls by increasing behavioral consistency. Formalization controls through policies and written documentation. Strong cultures can be a substitute for formalization. Formalization means bringing something into practicality. So how we can bring things into practicality? Formalization controls through policies and written documentation. There are two things. One that if I join a new organization, whenever I join a new organization, the company will provide me some written documents. What are those documents? Those documents will tell me about the HR policy, the human resource policy of the organization, then a technical documentation, the type of job and my roles in the job, then the salary I am getting in the job, then the appraisal system, then telling about the company's vision and mission. So these are the formalization part. That means those are the policies and written documentation, and I have to strictly follow those rules and norms and policies or the documents which is being provided to me. That is the formalization part. Second is the culture part. Culture is formed of the behavior of the employees, the attitude, the team spirit, the people orientation. As in some of in the back slide I have told you 7 characteristics. So that is the culture part. Formalization part is the documentation part or the policy part, and culture part is the people orientation, team orientation. I am talking about this slide, if you remember. So that is the culture part. Innovation and risk, attention, outcome, people orientation, team orientation, aggressiveness and stability. And formalization is the policy part and the written documentation. Then culture's 5 basic functions: define boundaries, conveys a sense of identity, generates commitment beyond oneself, enhances social stability, sense making and control mechanism. These are the culture's 5 basic functions. Then culture as a liability. It's a barrier to change. Culture is slow to change even in a dynamic environment. Barriers to culture seeks to minimize diversity, can embed prevalent bias and prejudice, and most mergers fail due to cultural incompatibility. So I mean, it's a very difficult to change the culture of the organization. I mean, the spirit or the type of, like in India, if you are aware about that, the government organizations are very, very slow in working. So now most of the people have the mindset that government based organizations in India, they are very slow, they are not very fast in doing the job. So at times every people or most of the people, we can say that they have the mindset that, I mean, working with government organizations in India is very, very difficult because they are not adaptive to change and they are very slow. So this is now to change this culture, to change the mindset of the people. It will take years and years, because so we can say that it's very difficult to change the culture of an organization. Now, creating culture. So ultimate source of an organization's culture is its founders. I mean, the founder, the background of the founder, the spirit through which the founder of the company or the CEO of the company have started the organization. So I mean, the organization's culture depends on its founder's culture or the CEO. Founder or CEO is the same thing. So founders create culture in 3 ways: by hiring and keeping those who think and feel the same way they do, indoctrinating and socializing those employees to their way of thinking and feeling. Third, acting as a role model and encouraging employees to identify with them. Now these are the 3 ways through which founders either hire those people who match the level of their mentality, number 1. Number 2, they can train them socially and technically so that they can nurture their employees, so that employees start feeling the way founders feel or look at things. Number three, they act as a role model, and since he or she is the role model, similarly, other members of the organization will start following him. So these are the three ways in which founders create culture in the organization. So what is the important point? Important point is culture, organization's culture majorly depends on its founder's culture, and number two, founders create culture in three ways. First this, second this, and third this. Now, keeping a culture alive. If some culture is being adapted by the founder, how we can keep that culture alive? Selection, seek out those who fit in. Top management establish norms of behavior by their actions. Socializations help new employees adapt to the existing culture. So these are the three ways in which we can keep the existing culture alive. We can choose those people who can fit in or who can mentally tune themselves to the feeling or to the understanding of the founder. Then the top management establish norms of behaviors by their actions. And thirdly, whenever any new employee joins to the organization, immediately he can be groomed in a way that he can start thinking the way the senior management used to think. So this is how we can keep the culture alive in the organization. Now what is the socialization model? Pre-arrival, encounter, metamorphosis. What are the three outcomes? Productivity, commitment, and turnover. Pre-arrival means initial knowledge about the organization and own unique ideas. Encounter means exposed to the organization. Metamorphosis means member change to fit within the organization. So, and once these three things are done, what will be the outcome? Productivity. The employee will become productive. He will commit, and finally the company will get the good turnover because of the employee. Then dimensions of socialization programs. There are two types of programs: intense programs and moderate programs. What are the intense programs? Formal new workers separated from training, group basis, fixed plan activity, serious role model used, and divestiture. Strip away characteristics to build up new ones. What are the moderate programs? New workers immediately put to work. Individuals one-to-one, one-on-one basis, variables, no timetables, random on your own, and accepts and confirms existing characteristics. So there are two socialization programs. One is called the intense program, and second one is called the moderate programs. Now, what is the intense? Basically, when suppose 10 people have joined the organization, so once they have all the 10 people have joined the organization, they will be given a certain group training. So in that training, they will be groomed about the organization, they will be groomed about the organizational culture, they will be groomed about the way they used to work in the organization on a group basis, and it should be planned. So also at times whenever group of new people join the organization, so the head of the company or the head of the department will come and give the training so that the new joinees can try to think about the mindset of the role model who is giving the lecture, and also trying to adapt themselves as per the requirement of the company. So this is the intense program. Moderate programs are not planned. It can happen anytime. It can be maybe one-to-one. It can have no timetable, or it can be in a group also. So it's a moderate. I mean, it's not fixed. So that is the difference between the intense program and the moderate program. Then how organization cultures form? First, it's a philosophy of organization founder, as we have seen in the previous slides, that it's the founder's culture which will create the culture in the organization. So philosophy, with what philosophy the founder has started the organization, then how he selects the top management and the socialization, and finally according to that top management and socialization, finally comes the organization culture. So success in employee socialization depends upon management's selection of socialization method and the closeness of new employees' values to those of the organization. So this is how organization cultures form. Is it clear to all till now? Any doubts, anybody? Any questions? Okay. How employees learn culture? Culture is transmitted to employees through stories, provide explanations, rituals, reinforce key values, material symbols, convey importance, and language, identify and segregate numbers. So these are the four ways through which culture is being transmitted to the employee, either through stories or through rituals or through material symbols or through language. Then creating an ethical organizational culture. A strong culture with high risk tolerance, low to moderate aggressiveness, and focuses on means as well as outcomes is most likely to shape high ethical standards. So, creating an ethical organization structure means that it should tolerate high risk, it should be low to moderate aggressiveness, it should focuses on means as well as outcomes. If this kind of culture is being created in the organization, or if these kind of culture is being shaped in the organization, that is called as the high ethical standards. So managers must be visible role models, communicate ethical expectations, provide ethical training, visibly reward ethical acts and punish unethical ones, provide protective mechanisms. Creating a positive organizational culture. A positive culture is one that emphasizes the following: building on employee strength, rewarding more than punishing, emphasizing vitality and growth of the employee. This is how we can create a positive organizational culture. Then what is the global implications? National and organization cultures. Organizations exist in a global context, must be aware of local and national cultures. Suggestions and observations. Organizations heavily dependent on foreign markets and labor. National culture does influence organizational cultures. All managers must be culturally sensitive. Those are the global implications. What are the implications for managers? Create the culture you want when the organization is small and new. If established culture needs to be changed, expect it to take years. That means it takes time to change the existing culture. And what are the things to be kept in mind? Organizational culture is concerned with how employees perceive the culture, not whether or not they like it. Ethical and positive organizational cultures can be created. Methods differ. National culture influences the organizational culture. Okay, so this brings us to the end of this particular slide. Is it clear to all? Any doubts, any questions, any queries, anybody? Any questions? If you want to ask, you can ask. Okay. So, can we stop for a 2-minute break? After that, we can start. Yes, can we start now? Are you all there? What about others? Okay. Yes, that's right, Munni. So what is individual culture? Individual culture is the person's own culture. I mean, individual means if there are 10 members in the organization, so individual means every 10 members have their own way of looking at things, behaving in the organization. So that is the individual. Individual means one to one. That is the individual culture. Okay? Now let us see the power and politics part. So power and politics. You can get much farther with a kind word and a gun than you can with a kind word alone. That is being said by Mr. A. Capone. So both power as well as politics helps you in moving ahead. Now power gets someone to do something you want done. Now if you want to get something done from somebody, and if that person does not agree for that, you can use your power, or by showing power you can get that particular thing done. That is the power. Politics, behavior to influence or attempt to influence the distribution of advantages and disadvantages within the organization. That means you are very smart enough. What kind of people play politics in the organization? The person who is mentally very smart, who can read the situation, what is going on, who can understand the mindset of the senior people or the subordinates of the employees, and who very well is aware of the situation, and who is smart enough in speaking, and who has the capability to influence others. Those kind of people. Okay, Nixon is asking to go little slow. Okay. So those kind of people play politics in the organization. So power as well as politics both play a major part in the organization. Power can be used for positive purpose as well as power can be used for negative purpose. Similarly, politics can also be done for positive purpose and it can also be done for negative purpose, depending upon the intention of the employee who is engaged in these kind of stuffs. So that is the difference between the power and the politics. Okay, is it clear to all? Nixon, is it all right? My speed? No, power is the probability that one actor within the relationship will be in a position to carry out his own will despite resistance. Power refers to a capacity that A has to influence the behavior of B so that B does something he or she won't otherwise do. So that is the effect of the power. That means power can get done anything from anybody. Now power dynamics is determinants, consequences, trapping, reputation, shifts, indicators, compliance, uncertainty, dependency and distribution. So one can be engaged or use his power by all these factors: trapping, consequences, determinants, distribution, dependency, uncertainty, compliance, indicators, shifts and reputation. So this is the power dynamics. What are the sources of power? Interpersonal sources, number of people, rewards, coercive, legitimate, expert, referent. Structural sources, knowledge, resources and decision making. So these are the sources of power. Power tactics, individual and intra-group tactics, assertiveness, friendships, friendliness, rationality, sanctions, higher authority, bargaining and coalition. So these are the power tactics. Then intergroup tactics, uncertainty, absorption, sustainability, integrative and importance. This is the power tactics. So politics refers to the structure and process of the use of authority and the power to affect definition of goals, directions and the other major parameters of the organization. Decisions are not made in a rational or formal way, but rather through compromise, accommodation and bargaining. So that is the effect of the politics. Politics refers to the, this we have done. Organizational politics is the process where individuals or group use whatever power they can amass to influence organizational decision in the direction of their own interest. Now this is politics. I mean, organizational politics can help the organization, that I mean the person who is playing the politics, he or she is so very much influential that he can force the organization to make the decision as per his wish, his or her wish. That is the politics. So that every person cannot handle politics. I mean, the person who is politically very sound has very good communication skills. He is very smart in reading and observing people. He is very smart in understanding the mindset of the people. He is very smart in influencing the top management and the lower management. So only those kind of people can get organizational decision in his or her favor. So organizational politics refers to intentional behaviors that are designed to enhance or protect a person's influence and self-interest. Okay, is it clear to all? Okay. Now let us see the types of organizational politics. Types of organizational politics are attacking and blaming others, selectively distribution information, controlling information channels, forming coalitions, increasing dispensability, managing impressions, association with line executives. These are the types of political activity. What are the ethics of power and politics? Must satisfy three criteria. Criteria of utilitarian outcomes, criteria of individual rights, criteria of distributive justice. That is the ethics of power and politics. Now let us see one of the case study. Just go through this case study, everybody. Have you read this slide? All of you? Maria says yes. What about others? Rashid, Monachin. What about others? I am asking Nixon, have you read this slide so that I can move on to the next slide? What about others? Once you are done with this slide, only after that I can move on to the next slide. Okay. Moving on to the next slide. Are you all done with this slide? Maria says done. Monachin says yes. What about others? Akshata says yes. Praveen says yes. Dominda says yes. Rashid says yes. Okay, I'm moving on to the next slide. Now question 1. What political strategies did Amitabh use to gain power? Now in this particular case study we have seen that how Amitabh plays power and politics game to rise up in the organization, and finally at the end he has got the downfall and he has to leave the organization. So what political strategies did Amitabh use to gain power? I mean, he has tried to influence his boss. Number one, he has influenced his boss, and he started. Who is his boss? His boss is Rakesh. Amitabh's boss is Rakesh, and Gaurav and Deepak are his juniors or are his colleagues. Now, what politics strategies did Amitabh use to gain power? Amitabh has high qualification. He always influences his boss Rakesh and always makes complaints about his colleagues. So this is the strategy being used by Amitabh to gain power. Okay? Do you agree with me? My answer? Do you all agree with my answer? Then what would you do if you were Deepak, Gaurav and Rakesh? This is an interesting question. If you were Deepak or if you were Gaurav, since both are there, one is the section head and one is the head of other department. If you were Deepak, this can Rakesh, you should take Rakesh, the senior, the head. You should, both Gaurav and Deepak has to influence Rakesh, since Rakesh is the senior most guy. They should also try to tell about, and they should also try to, one second. And they should also try to convince Rakesh about Amitabh, or also want to inform. There should, I mean, both Deepak and Gaurav should have open communication with Rakesh, who is the head. Number one, they should put their transparent work in front of Rakesh and try to win his confidence through a hard work, which will help Rakesh stay develop in Deepak and Gaurav, and then in that case Rakesh would not have to blindly trust Amitabh. Do you agree with me? Just read what I have written. Do you all agree with my answer? I mean, you have to put the clear picture in front of your boss, that, and you should try to win the confidence of your boss if you are the junior, so that any other person should not go to your boss and do backbiting, or they should give some negative feedbacks about you. So you should be good and clear in your work. Then third question, bring out the ethical issues involved in Amitabh's behavior. Yes, that's right. We should have straight relationship with the boss. Not straight, we should have a clear and transparent relationship. Yes, so bring out the ethical issues involved in Amitabh's behavior. Ethical issues are, first, he is qualified enough to be promoted to higher rank in the organization. He is having good relationship with his superiors. He tries to win everybody's confidence. He is a good team man. Then he trusts his brother. Do you all agree with my answer? I have written 5 points that what are the ethical issues involved in Amitabh's behavior. Okay, Rashid, you can go. Yes, sir, we are about also to end the class in 5 minutes probably. So, what is the conclusion? So, power is the ability to influence people and events. Managers need to use power effectively. Closely related to power is politics. Politics relates to the way people gain and use power in organizations. Political activities in an organization are inevitable and managers should manage them carefully. Power and politics are present in all organizations. Okay, so this brings us to the end of our today's class, and hope you all have enjoyed today's class. If you have any queries, any questions, any doubts, any problems, you can ask me right now, so that we can wind up the class. Yes, thank you for that comment, Nixon. Any questions, any doubts, any queries? Anything you would like to ask, you can ask right now. Okay, no questions. Interesting topic. Yes, that's right. So thank you all for your time. Thank you all for your precious time, and good night to all, and do take good care of your health, and do give feedbacks after the class. It's a request that you should give feedback after the class. Okay? Oh yeah, Manu, that's right. Case study was good. Thank you all. Bye bye.